You are about to see the past 10 years of a random stranger online. My name is Gloria. This is the story of my 20s. It was 2012, I just finished my first year at U of T. I was a young girl with a big dream, and I was not happy with just being a regular kid at school. I had always wanted to become a singer. So during my summer break, I recorded a couple of songs and submitted them to a singing contest.
Calling me sugar, you call me sugar. Oh, 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 oh. 亲爱的人，亲密的爱人。 这是我一生中最兴奋的时分。
I got selected into the contest and was required to attend the contest in Beijing, so I decided to take a gap year to pursue my dream of becoming a singer. I packed all my stuff in Toronto, said goodbye to all my friends, and moved to Beijing. Long story short, the lucky start quickly turned into a fucking nightmare. The contest turned out to be borderline fraud. I basically said fuck you and quit the contest. There I was, alone in Beijing, with all my hopes and dreams completely crushed. It was the darkest period of my life. And what's a better way to brighten up my days than going blonde? Okay, it was supposed to be purple, but the color faded away, so I turned blonde. In the meantime, I also started working as a translator and assistant to a well-known music producer, and got to see what the music industry was really like in China. I guess my days did lighten up. Although I was rubbing shoulders with top musicians and famous people, all I could think of was going back to university. A, I realized this wasn't the life I wanted, and B, I felt like a big part of my life would be missing if I didn't experience university. So I dyed my hair black. My hair somehow has to play a part in my life decisions, and I was ready to return to university and be a regular kid. University life was a-okay. I got into the drama program and got to learn a bit about acting. I wanted to study film acting, but all we had at U of T was theater acting. It was still fun though, sometimes.
Break down my heart!
I also joined a dance crew. I just loved performing on stage. Doesn't matter if it was singing, acting, or dancing. Oh, and I also started modeling for a local magazine. Being regular doesn't mean being boring. Although I was no longer associated with the glitz and glamour of the music industry, I would say I still had quite a fulfilling life in university. I forgot to mention, I was in a relationship the whole time, from when I was pursuing my dream in Beijing to returning to school in Toronto. We met in Toronto, but he was a world traveler, the original digital nomad, and we got to travel around different places in China during my summer break. Back in school, I was still doing the whole theater thing, and I continued to explore my other interests.
好，那今天是我们 CUA 的春晚，要不我们代表 CUA 给在场各位观众朋友们送点祝福，让大家也开心开心。
I was still modeling too. I was really into vintage style at the time, and it was also when I started taking a real interest in fashion. Remember, it was 2014. Fashion blogs and Instagram exploded in popularity. Every girl and their mother wanted to be a blogger. My then boyfriend took some outfit photos for me and even made me a website. But the irony of life is, it doesn't always turn out the way you want it to be. We broke up. He wanted to continue traveling the world, and the biggest lesson I learned that year was, the greatest love you can give to someone is to let them go. And I was really freaking proud of him for sticking to his dreams. Newly single, I was just trying to get back on my feet. Luckily, I still had a lot of things going on for me. I started working on a theater project called In Sundry Languages, a multilingual theater show that I co-wrote and starred in. Spoiler alert, it turned out to be a long-term project that I'm still involved in till this day. It was also the year when I met my favorite photographer, who is still a dear friend. She introduced to me what high fashion was. But I did not become a fashion blogger then. I sort of forgot all about that. Why? Because I met someone and fell madly in love. He was an exchange student from Italy and was only staying for 3 months, but we were young and crazy in love, so we decided to do a long-distance relationship. And so I went to Italy. A lot. His family was from around Venice, so I spent quite some time in Venice. I remember we went to a mountain called, I can't believe I have to attempt to pronounce this, Rifugio Lagazzoi, where we missed the last cable car and had to walk all the way down. Of course, we went to Milan, the fashion capital, can't miss that, and Rome, the actual capital. Well, all roads lead to Rome, they say. I also got to spend New Year's Eve in Paris. It was literally a dream come true. In the year 2016, I finally graduated. I had some time to spare before I had to start looking for a real job, so I moved to Milan for a bit, where my Italian boyfriend got his job. Honestly, I was just bored most of the time because he was a trainee lawyer and had to work a lot, but we got to travel around Italy on the weekends. We went to Lake Como, it was absolutely stunning. We went to Cinque Terre, it was so different from anything I had ever seen. We went to Florence, where I got my famous little sandals that I still wear till today. And of course, I got to spend some more time in Venice too. All the traveling sounds wonderful, doesn't it? But life is no fairy tale. I still had to face reality at some point, aka getting a job. I wanted to get into the fashion industry, but I didn't study it and had no idea how to break in. And although I studied drama, there is no such thing as getting a full-time job as an actress, and so I had to utilize my other major, economics, and got a boring-ass job at a bank. At that point, my then boyfriend and I both had a full-time job, and vacations were hard to come by. He could only book a few days off at a time to visit me in Canada, and so did I. I remember I went to Venice for 4 days just to spend Christmas with him and his family, because I barely had any vacation days left. We still loved each other, but things were starting to get difficult. It was 2017, I just turned 25, he flew to Toronto to celebrate birthday with me. We hadn't seen each other for almost half a year at that point. And then we both managed to book a longer vacation to travel back to China, and that turned out to be our last trip together. What we had was a beautiful love story, but it had come to an unfortunate end. Those were dark days. I felt like a failure. I always thought by the time I hit 25, I would have a stable relationship and a fulfilling career. I had none. I had just had a breakup and I had a shitty job. What happened to the Gloria who was always chasing her dreams? And so I went on a quest to find myself again. The first thing I did was, of course, singing.
But we couldn't see eye to eye. So, darling, 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 this is goodbye.
It was also the time when I started getting obsessed with reading self-development books and watching a shit ton of motivational videos. That was the year I decided I would never lose myself again. I went on a solo trip to the Bahamas for my 26th birthday just to prove to myself that I am an independent woman. I also decided to pick up my phone and made a cringe-worthy travel video. I made a few other videos after that, but I hid them all because they were so cringe. I basically tried whatever it was I wanted to try. I did not give a fuck how bad I was at it.
That's okay. That's okay. That's why you have a seam ripper.
My fur got soaked the morning and cold, but I ain't gonna holler 'cause I ain't got a dollar. And when I get low, well, I get high.
At the end of 2018, I quit my bank job. It was the best fucking day of my life. My family came to visit me in Canada. We went on a Banff trip together. I documented the entire trip and made it into a video. It's still one of the best memories I have. Although it was pretty obvious that I had a thing for making videos, I never thought I would one day become a video creator. I was trying to hide from it, like getting a mortgage agent license instead, or making videos for a real estate agent. I was kind of scared to start my own channel. It was 2019, I was 27, and I still hadn't had a real channel yet. I actually had a lot of unreleased footage in my hard drive that never got to see the light of day. I'm officially a classy loser. And then I took a trip to Bali with my best friend, and the rest was history. I could no longer hide my enthusiasm for making videos, and from that moment on, I promised myself I would start my own channel and commit to posting one video a week. As much as I loved traveling, I knew realistically I wouldn't be able to post one travel video per week, so I picked slow fashion instead, because it was also something that I felt really passionate about. In this channel, I'm going to talk to you about slow fashion. Initially, I was only going to do YouTube, but I wanted my family and friends in China to see my videos, so I added subtitles and uploaded them to Bilibili. And I would never in a million years have thought that people would use my videos to practice English. My channel on Bilibili started growing very quickly, and that was how it became a slow fashion English channel. The universe is a pretty magical thing, isn't it? And after over 2 years of being single and finding myself, I also started dating again. I had a really short-lived relationship, and I learned that being with the wrong person is 1,000 times worse than being on my own. Let's just leave it at that. Oh, 2020. We all know what happened that year. Yeah, COVID happened, and Toronto entered into the longest lockdown in history. I was lucky because I was already working from home anyway. I literally had nothing else to do other than making videos. I just kept grinding and kept pumping out one video per week. I did everything on my own, from coming up with topics to scripting, filming, editing, translating, and working with brands. I took pride in posting videos on time week after week. I worked my ass off, from morning to night, 6 days a week, sometimes even 7 days a week. I had no life outside of making videos. As much as I didn't want to admit it, I was starting to have burnout. I never told you about this, but I was seeing someone at the time. I just didn't like sharing my relationship status online, because then I had to explain it when we break up. Anyways, he was kind of a workaholic himself because he loves what he does, but he literally had to convince me to stop doing this to myself. This was when I started taking self-care seriously, especially in my mental health. Sure, it might hurt my channel because I no longer post that frequently, but at the end of the day, I want to show up as my best self for my audience, and the only way to do it is for me to stay balanced. I was turning 29, the last year of my 20s, and I just wanted to live my life. I decided to take a risk on my birthday. I meant risking my life.
Do you have something to say before your first climb ever?
I hope I stay alive. I really don't want to die on my birthday. If I die, please burn my diaries. Yeah, I went rock climbing for the first time without any safety gears. Dangerous move, do not imitate. After literally risking my life and surviving, I was ready to take a bigger risk in life. I decided to move back to China. And yes, I had to face a breakup again, but don't worry, no one was hurt, it was mutually agreed upon. I forgot to mention he didn't actually live in Toronto. He happily went back to his country as he had always planned, and I went back to mine. And so my adventure in China began. After experiencing the legendary quarantine, I got to explore Shanghai, met some amazing new influencer friends, and reconnected with my old friends. I also got to spend time with my family in Shenzhen. It was the longest I had ever stayed since I left home at 19 years old. I also got invited to Shanghai Fashion Week for the first time. I got featured on Vogue Business for being a clean influencer in China. I got to work with my dream brands to talk about sustainable fashion, and from time to time, my followers would recognize me on the street. Honestly, it felt unreal. I was like, wait, did I actually become a fashion influencer? I guess I did. And I know the younger Gloria would be so freaking proud. With my newfound location independence, initially I just wanted to explore my options and see how I like living in China after being away for 10 years, and I ended up really liking it. And so I decided I could be a snowbird. No one ever said you have to be tied down to one place, and even if someone said so, why would you let anyone tell you how to live your life? On May 2nd, 2022, I officially turned 30 years old. I was filled with gratitude, happiness, and peacefulness. We were always told that by the time you turn 30, you're supposed to settle down. Well, why would I settle down when my best life has just begun? I am simply thrilled to see what's to come in the next decade. And that concludes the story of my 20s. I had a lot of ups, and I also had a lot of downs. But I can say I don't regret a single minute of it. My 20s was fucking awesome, and my 30s will continue to be awesome.